I'm very fortunate in leading the Scaling Seeds and Technologies Partnership in Africa to actually get support from Mark's team. So my kind of job at the moment is to sort of trawl through the vast array of technologies that have been developed and are sitting on those proverbial shelves in research stations, and to subject them to some of the analysis that Mark's team does to really identify which technologies we should prioritize for investing. But I think we all recognize there are a lot of very good technologies out there. I'm a scientist, many of you I'm sure are scientists. New varieties have been developed, better fertilizers, etc. And I think we recognize the potential of it, but I'd like to focus a little bit on the end of Mark's presentation, that if we're really going to stimulate the uptake of these technologies to bring about the benefits that potentially we can have on smallholder agriculture, we have to pay much more attention to issues of regulatory reform, improving the policies, laws, regulations that will allow farmers to access these technologies, and then to create a system that will actually allow innovation to take place. And I work in the seed sector, not exclusively, but I've had a lot of experience in the seed sector. People have said to me that the seed sector is actually more regulated than the nuclear industry. Well, anybody who's worked in sub-Saharan Africa will know that that's a fact of life. It's an incredibly difficult thing to get a new variety into the hands of smallholder farmers. You're subjected to a lot of testing. You have to convince august bodies of researchers that your variety is better than somebody else's. And actually, when you get it into the hands of smallholder farmers, they're much better at deciding much more quickly whether this is for them or whether it's not for them, and they reject it or whatever. So we have to really work hard to expose farmers to a much broader range of technologies much more quickly, and then to have a system in place that will allow this innovation to take place. And talked about some of the risks associated with just focusing on a few crops. Let me give you some examples. Maize, which is an imported crop into this region, came from Latin America, is the dominant staple now in Eastern and Southern Africa. Right now, today in Kenya, there is a disease called maize, or it's a complex of diseases called maize lethal necrosis disease, which is threatening the maize staple. And I think the overemphasis on one crop has actually put farmers in a very risky situation. We're also faced with quite a severe drought this particular season that's developing. So I would like to support your comments that we need to be much more imaginative in developing more creative agronomic systems. But we're faced with a big challenge because a lot of the investment going into agriculture now is around developing value chains. Value chains are very linear type of things. And I think we need to be much smarter in the types of value chains that we develop and the types of support that we give to those value chains. Let me give you a specific example. I've been working with SAB Miller in Mozambique that has used or has developed cassava as a raw material for making beer. And as soon as you bring a market into those communities, the demand to grow, or the cassava production increases, which is what we want to see. But very quickly, if you continue to grow cassava without any inputs, you can get into a very dangerous situation. You can just go and ask the farmers in Thailand what happened when they started to access the European markets with cassava for pig feed. So we have to help farmers. We have to be smarter in the way we develop these value chains, and I think we have to integrate different market opportunities into those farming systems. I've had a lot of experience with a crop called pigeon pea, one of the legumes that is tended to be neglected. It fits very nicely into cassava. It's a legume, it's deeper rooting, so it can extract moisture from areas that the cassava plant can't. Fits quite nicely into, I think, some of the modelling examples that Mark presented. And we need then to help develop sort of value chains within value chains, because there's a lot of work that we need to do to organise farmers, to create the incentives for input suppliers and output traders to get involved with those smallholder farmers. Quite frankly, most businesses want to keep away from smallholder farmers because it's a huge investment needed to get those people organised. I think that's where the development investments can come, but we need to be smarter in the types of things that we bring to those groups. So it's bringing a mix of crops, avoiding problems like diseases, the maize lethal necrosis disease, striga, which is a huge problem on maize, And we also need to put in place the regulatory systems that are going to control some of the excesses that take place. I was involved with Crop Life. Crop Life provides herbicides. And there's a suite of very good herbicides now to be used in no-till agriculture. But as soon as the demand for those products takes place in the farming community, other people come in and they start to dilute those herbicides, they start to market fake products, and very quickly the system can collapse overnight if you don't have the systems in place to maintain it. So I think there's a lot of infrastructure, software that we need to put around some of the hardware, the technologies to actually get the adoptions that we need to.